Sri Lanka's Minister of Agriculture as well as the Minister of Power and Energy had noted that they would submit facts to the cabinet meeting on Monday that would be chaired by the President. Ministers Harin Fernando and Manushanana Kara commented on the decision taken by the Cabinet of Ministers.
Bear in mind where we were a year ago. This is not anyone's fault. There are less clouds in the sky. When there is less rainfall, we experience a drought and people experience water and power cuts. However, the cabinet decided on an uninterrupted supply of both. Do not incite people for your own fantasies. This is our appeal to you. We will not allow anyone to incite the people to take to the streets. We also make an appeal to the media. We recall the Sirasa Sahana Yatra where water was distributed to the people who were battered. Dherana also did something called Manusadharana, and Hiru also did the same, as did Swarnavahini. Let us all unite to help the people in their time of need. Some channels are entertained by this. Let it be. But remember that it will come back to haunt you. When that happens, do not point the finger at us. 3.5 MCM will be released daily for 3 days from 3 AM on Tuesday from the Samanala Wewa. The maximum capacity is 2,850 acre-feet. We will provide it for 3 days.
Will there be any power shortages in the southern province?
No such thing will happen. We will use alternative sources to provide electricity.
Water from the Samanala Wewa was retained, citing the need to generate electricity. The present situation is such that water will likely be unavailable for cultivation and the generation of electricity. The total water capacity of the Samanala Wewa dropped to 11.3% as of Friday, the 4th of August. According to the data made public by the Ceylon Electricity Board, Samanala Wewa's contribution to the national grid on Sunday was 1.2%. The total electricity generation on Sunday was 41.52 gigawatt hours, and the Samanala Wewa's contribution to the national grid was a mere 0.52 gigawatt hours. 2 generators can be operated to generate 60 megawatts of electricity from the water in the Samanala Wewa reservoir. However, at present, only 1 generator is in use. Therefore, this single generator is generating 30 megawatts of electricity. If a continuous supply of electricity is generated using the present water capacity, the water in the Samanala Wewa will only be sufficient for another 15 days. If this is the case, what is the plan to move forward? This issue mainly affects the southern province. According to the Ceylon Electricity Board, it does not have a system to provide the southern province with electricity from the national grid. A 150-kilometer long transmission system from Pulpitiya to Hambantota was constructed. However, a land dispute had stalled the process of completing it. The CEB is no longer purchasing electricity from a private power plant in Ambilipitiya. The CEB has not even taken over the private power plant despite being able to do so. So what is the alternative way of providing electricity to the south of Sri Lanka? Sri Lanka's Power and Energy Minister Kanchana Wijesekara on Monday said Ceylon Electricity Board has planned for an uninterrupted supply of power island-wide throughout the year with no scheduled power cuts, adding that currently the full capacity of available power plants are in use for power generation. He posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, noting that the discussion to settle the dispute between the landowner and CEB to complete the ADB-financed Pulpitiya-Hambantota transmission line has been set for the 11th of August by the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka. If the water in the Samanala Wewa is not sufficient and if the transmission line for the southern province is incomplete, the next available option is emergency purchasing. Therefore, authorities will be compelled to purchase electricity at a higher cost from private power plants. So far, such incidents have not yielded any positive outcomes for the people. Will the people of Sri Lanka be once again burdened by decisions that were not taken on time? This is the fate of the rice fields located in the Hambantota district. The Minister of Agriculture pointed out that following a decision made by the Ceylon Electricity Board to not release water from the Samanala Wewa to the Udawalawe Reservoir, a decision that was also approved by the Cabinet, 40% of the rice fields in Ratnapura, Hambantota and Monaragala districts were destroyed due to the shortage of water. More than 25,000 hectares of rice fields in the Ratnapura, Ambilipitiya and Monaragala areas are nurtured by the water that flows via 2 waterways, namely the left bank canal and the right bank canal, canal that originate from the Udawalawe reservoir. More than 30,000 families depend on the water from these waterways to sustain their livelihoods, which are based on agriculture. While having to face a plethora of issues, including the fertilizer crisis, farmers from these three districts cultivated over 220,000 metric tons of paddy during the recent Yala harvest season. Swathes of paddy lands in the Yaya Dahanama area in Angunukula Palassa that are nurtured by the Walava Left Bank Canal have already been destroyed.
My rice field spans an acre and a half. I am 120,000 rupees in debt. However, my crops are destroyed and I am unable to settle my debt. I am helpless. This is a crime. The Mahavali authorities said that water will be provided until the 2nd of August. However, we were not provided with water for over a month. Take a look at the crops. This is a disappointing situation.
Monday marked 15 days since the farmers from Ambelipitiya launched a Satyagraha campaign demanding water be released from the Samanala Wewa to the Udawalawe reservoir.
Do they not understand the woes of the people? The farmers are only asking for water for their rice fields. Most fields have been destroyed. If they can release some water, it will be sufficient to save the crops and for the people to survive. This is purposeful evasion. They forced us to suffer under the scorching sun for 15 days.
Farmers from the Walava zone who cultivate using the water from the Udawalawe reservoir, which is nourished from the Samanala Wewa, managed to cultivate amidst a plethora of difficulties, and they were demanding water for over a month so that they could nurture their crops. As those pleas fell on deaf ears, farmers launched a fast in a bid to protect their crops, while the Minister of Power and Energy maintained his position.
What happens when we release the water? Water will be sufficient for a few days and there will be no cultivation. From that day onwards, we will have to impose 4-hour power cuts for 5 districts.
It was based on an agreement reached at the cabinet meeting that water was not released to the farmers. As farmlands were deprived of much needed water, the crops started to wither. Almost a week late, the cabinet on Monday decided to release water. Has the government managed to solve its electricity crisis to reach such a decision? The Samanala Wewa can generate electricity at its present capacity for approximately another 15 days. That means the water is also insufficient for hydropower generation and farmlands are also destroyed due to the lack of water. If this decision had been taken before, the rice fields could have been saved. Farmers protested, fasted and even marched onto the dam of the Samanala Wewa reservoir, demanding that this decision be reached sooner. In the end, there is neither water for rice fields nor water for electricity generation.
What is the outcome of such a decision?
As per the Minister of Power and Energy, if the Polpitiya to Hambantota transmission line cannot be linked to the national grid soon, the government will be compelled to go for emergency power purchasing. A hydropower generated unit of electricity only costs 4 rupees. However, this rises to 100 rupees for emergency power purchases. Various decisions are being reached from time to time. Is it not the people of Sri Lanka who will be burdened by these decisions?